Hello students, hope you have learned the first lesson. Now we are moving on to second lesson in environmental science, that is addressing population. In that we are going to start with Unit 1, population growth and environmental degradation. Population. Population is defined as a group of organisms of the same species living in geographically localized area in a specified time span and capable of interbreeding among themselves to produce a fertile offspring. Here, fertile offspring means which can again reproduce and give offspring. Population is an important source of development. Yet, it is a major source of environmental degradation when it exceeds the threshold limits to the support systems. Means, though the population is source of development, if it exceeds, if it increases enormously, abnormally, then it degrades the environmental system, support system. So population should be maintained in one particular standard. Population impacts on environment primarily through the use of natural resources and production of waste and are associated with environmental stresses like loss of biodiversity, air and water pollution, and increased pressure on arable land. The environmental degradation is a result of the dynamic interplay of socio-economic, institutional, and technological activities. Environmental changes may be driven by many factors including economic growth, population growth, urbanization, intensification of agriculture, rising energy use, and transportation. Poverty still remains a problem at the root of several environmental problems. Impact of poverty on environmental degradation. Here, first you should know what is poverty. Poverty is the complete lack of the means necessary to meet basic personal needs such as food, clothing, and shelter. Poverty is said to be cause and effect of environmental degradation. Inequality may foster unsustainability because the poor who rely on natural resources more than the rich deplete natural resources faster because they have no real prospects of gaining access to other type of resources. Moreover, degraded environment can accelerate the process of impoverishment again because the poor depend on natural assets. Means, rich will have many sources, but poor will totally rely on natural resources only for their livelihood. That is why they cause environmental degradation faster. Impact of urbanization on environmental degradation. Urbanization refers to population shift from rural areas to urban areas. The decrease in proportion of people living in rural areas and the ways in which each society adopts to this change. That is, moving of poor people or rural people for various reasons from the rural areas to the cities. Immigration, the act of leaving own country to settle permanently in another or moving abroad. Emigration, the act of leaving own country to settle permanently in another, moving abroad. Lack of opportunities for gainful employment in villages and ecological stresses is leading to an ever increasing movement of poor families to towns. Here the reason for urbanization is specified. That is, lack of opportunities for gainful employment. From the villages, poor will move to towns. Mega cities are emerging and urban slums are expanding. Such rapid unplanned expansion of cities has resulted in degradation of urban environment, meaning poor people who come from villages, they form into a group and start living in a space, and that area is called urban slums, and that causes urban environmental degradation. It has widened the gap between demand and supply of infrastructural services such as energy, housing, transport, education, communication, water supply and sewerage and recreational amenities, thus depleting the precious environmental resources of the cities. The result is growing trend in the deterioration of air and water quality, generation of waste, the proliferation of slums and undesirable land use changes, all which contribute to urban poverty. Impact of agriculture on environmental degradation. Direct impacts of agricultural development on the environment arise from the farming activities which contribute to soil erosion, land salination and loss of nutrients. Means soil erosion, the topsoil will be washed away and the fertility of the soil will be decreased. So land salination means land becomes more saline and it becomes useless. And loss of nutrients. Repeatedly, if many plants, same crops are grown, means the nutrients will be lost. The spread of green revolution has been accompanied by over exploitation of land and water resources, and use of fertilizers, pesticides have increased manifold. You know who is father of green revolution in India? Yes, M.S. Swaminathan. Shifting cultivation has also been an important cause of land degradation. Leaching from extensive use of pesticides and fertilizers is an important source of contamination of water bodies. Intensive agriculture and irrigation contributes to land degradation, particularly salination, alkalization and water logging. Population density. Population density is the size of the population in relation to per unit area at a given time. Thus, in simple terms, the population of a country or of any other area is the total number of people who live in it. Natality is the ratio of number of births to the size of population, that is birth rate. Mortality is the state of being subject to death, especially in large scale. Now you are coming across in pandemic called corona, large scale of mortality you see. Death rate, the number of death in a given area or time. Migration. Migration is the seasonal movement of human beings from one region to another region. Now you are seeing this. So many people as laborers came from North India to Karnataka. Yesterday I have seen in the news, they are all going back. So what they have done for living? They came from their native place to dwell in city called Bangalore. That act is called migration. Immigration is a relocation to a country. Now we are seeing many immigrants are going to come by airlift, isn't it? So immigration, I think you got an idea. Population cannot remain constant. The number of deaths and number of births will not be equal. Often calamities like floods, famine, earthquakes, epidemics, pandemics cause death for in excess of birth taking place in a given region. On the other hand, decline in deaths due to better standards of health care, reduce infants' mortality, increase in life expectancy, increase the population. That means due to various reasons, the population will increase. Like standards will increase, healthcare will increase, and way of living, lifestyle, food quality, and increase in expectancy, that is the longevity of the people, all that increase means that increases population. Sometimes population of a region is influenced by mass migration. The population of any country is a driving force in its progress. Greater the number of population, greater the urbanization of natural resources. Thank you. Shall move to assignment. Answer the following. What is meant by population? Define population density. What is emigration? Explain the term natality. What do you mean by mortality? Differentiate between natality and mortality also can be asked children. Our resources cannot keep pace with the rising population. Give two examples which supports the statement. Explain briefly the poverty and population. What is the impact of agriculture on environmental degradation? How does urbanization affect environment? What is an impact of green revolution on environment? Write in A4 sheet, submit after reopening. Thank you.